Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of PODCAD, and we are here with yet another Renaissance person. We have a person who's older than all of us here, but still a greenhorn at OCAD. First year, but killing it. We have a creative writer, a poet, a photographer, and the equivalent of, who's that guy? Rick Rubin in the Toronto music scene and Barrie music scene. Nice. Welcome, Jules, otherwise known as Coyote.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing all right.
Yeah.
We're just chilling.
Everyone's chilling.
It's a pretty chill day.
It's a chill day.
At least we got a little sun.
Yeah. Kind of windy.
Thank you, Big Oil, for giving us an early spring.
Shout out to fascism.
Jules, what do you prefer? You have so many titles. What do you prefer to be referred to as? A creative writer, photographer, poet, or bless you?
That's the loudest news.
I'm just a guy. I'm just a little guy.
Just a little guy?
Yeah.
Little guy in the world?
on a lily pad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frog. I think that I like Jules mostly. Just like my name, you know.
Too humble. No. No. Let's talk about some of your photography work. I know that you like to work specifically with analog film.
Yeah,
and,
I do.
Some effects that you create. Could you talk about some of your photography work?
Sure. I mean, I have been shooting for like quite a few years, but never really took it that seriously until maybe like this past summer. And I think that film is really important to me. I think it captures everything in a really real way. Mm-hmm. When I shoot film, I don't know, I just feel like the camera knows exactly how I'm feeling. Yeah. And that really reflects in the photos. But yeah, like digital photography is cool. I think some people can do really amazing stuff with it. Personally, I just feel that film is very flexible. Mm-hmm. And the way that it captures color and tone is like exactly what I want from it. So I've been experimenting a lot, and like recently been doing double exposures and things like that. That's cool. Yeah, I shoot a lot of like live music, concerts and stuff, and I mostly started out, I guess like professionally, I started out with like shooting my friends because they're in a band. And then like in the summer, I shot like a little independent festival. It was like a bunch of cool like metal bands and stuff, experimental stuff. And so I got to experiment with their experimentation in the music. And so for me, it's like working with the artist and with like the energy of the music and everything. And then I've also done studio stuff. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, you mentioned film photography as being more real. But with your work, you do a lot of double exposures. You play around with lens filters. Mm-hmm. Do you find that heightens the reality, or you're kind of stepping away from it? You know,
it heightens. Well, maybe not heighten, but it reflects my reality. Like there's this one filter that I use that is a glass filter that I found in like a box in an antique shop like years ago, and never had any like hood attachment for it. And then I found one and I was like, okay, wait, this is actually how that works. So I just started like playing around with it, and it creates this like hazy star effect because like all the lights reflect through these like lines. Mm-hmm. And it creates like a flower image or like a star image. And so I feel like something that I said...
They're coming for you.
Huh? Yeah.
They're coming for you.
No, not again. But yeah, so I think it affects like the way that I see these people, because I often, if I'm using like it in shows, like concerts, it's like I'm looking at these people with stars in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it's really cool.
What camera do you usually shoot on? Like, do you have like a specific one that you like the most, or?
Yeah, I do. So first of all, I'm broke. So I've never invested in my own camera, but I inherited, or like I took on some of my dad's old cameras from when he was like my age. And so I used those for a while. I was using like a Canon Sure Shot, which is just like a point and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But then my roommate has a camera that he let me use that is a Canon AE1.
Oh, that's what I shoot on.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
I love that camera. It's my
nice.
dad's old camera too.
Yeah.
So is that also the story of how you got sort of your first camera, the first film camera?
My first film camera was an Olympus Trip, and it's like the most basic travel camera from like the 60s, I think. And I remember when I started out taking photos just for fun, I didn't have a flash and I didn't have like any knowledge whatsoever. But I was shooting on this little camera. It's like not very adjustable. It has adjustable ISO, and the focus is like, it's like a portrait shot, then 2 people, then 3 people, then landscape. And so a lot of my photos were like coming out of focus. So yeah, I just used it for like a lot of traveling and things like that. But that was my first camera. It was my dad's, and I went to like a family event one time, and my uncle saw that camera, like my dad's brother, and he was like, "Oh my God," like he was shocked, and he was like, "That's the camera that we took on family trips when we were kids."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Oh my God." And yeah, I think that my process has been really fun because my dad did a lot of photography when he was younger, and then for years and years, all these cameras were just sort of like sitting on the shelf collecting dust, and I sort of took it on as a way, almost like an homage or something, like a
Right.
way to honor his past artistic pursuits, and now it's just become like a total passion of mine. So
I wanted to ask this. Earlier you said that when you're shooting through your camera, it's like it's real, right, and stuff. And I think it's interesting that you're using your father's old camera and stuff, because it's almost like you're carrying on that legacy of allowing the camera to capture images, basically, right? Like it is still viewing, because without having someone use it, it's just sitting there,
like
purposeless,
all my
right?
film cameras that end up broken, or I don't even know because I don't know how to work them.
I was gonna say that like my dad has not left me shit, because my dad's one of those like he's like a gizmo guy.
yeah.
So it's just like if there's like new technology that replaces the old, he's just like, this is better. This is actually better. When the shift went to like CDs, this is better than vinyl.
Yeah,
And
my
it's
dad's
just like
an old
YouTube
soul.
is his old soul.
Yeah.
Do you collect vinyl?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Shared passion of many art students.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of I was talking to my friend who's a musician about vinyl, and about how he was saying that it was like not like sustainable or something. Like when it comes to music producing, it's just like the quality is not worth the effort necessarily. And I was kind of like, okay, but even if that is true, I mean, I think it's worth it, because when I listen to vinyl, I feel like I hear things that I wouldn't normally hear on like a digital thing, but it could also just be the audio system. But I do think the biggest aspect for me is like sitting down and like taking a physical piece of music and like putting it on a thing and then playing it. And you have to stay there and you have to be engaged with it, because eventually it's going to end and like you have to flip it. So
It's the experience, and this is a little bit of a reach, but Tim Hortons doesn't do the roll up the rim anymore. It's an app, and you lose the experience because you were so excited to roll up that rim.
That's the whole point.
But it's always the strategist who's like, oh, actually this percentage of people would use the app, or
it's not convenient.
it's not
Their little
convenient
fingers cannot roll up the
in
rim.
production.
We put too much seed
But,
oils in the
you know,
coffee. They can no
really-
longer roll up the rims.
Really, we should be looking at the experience
Yeah.
and however much it
But
costs.
you know what?
And work backwards,
Mhm.
until we get to that point where we can have that
Yeah.
experience and also have it be feasible.
It's fascinating you say that, though, and I would love to like know your opinion on this and stuff. I know like a few months ago, Polaroid recently came out with like their first like digital analog camera, where it's like
Oh yeah.
it's an analog camera but with
yeah.
like DSLR features,
I've
so you
seen
can
it.
like choose your like
Our Polaroid's going crazy over that one.
No, exactly. What is your thought on this sort of like shift into like obviously like analog cameras and stuff becoming popular again, but like the embracing new technology as well?
What's that? L2, I think it's called, isn't
I don't know.
Okay.
I think keep it simple.
Mm.
Like the whole point of these things was for it to be, I mean, people used Polaroids to keep track of things, because back then we didn't have phones to just like take a quick snapshot. So, in like the fashion industry, they'd take headshots of like the makeup, and they'd be like, okay, this is the reference for the makeup. And I've seen, my dad was showing me some old stuff from his portfolio when he was doing some like construction stuff and renovations. He took photos of like this attic to like keep track of it. And it was like these little Polaroids.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the idea, but we've gone so far from that everything is like, so there's so much instant gratification, and there's so much access to like,
I'd say
like
Polaroid.
immediate things.
Polaroid is like the instant
Yeah.
gratification camera.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you have to be there and take the photo. Like, I've seen the kind of like the printers that they have now, where you can just like print a Polaroid of a picture from your phone or something. And I think that that's like really gimmicky, and I don't like it.
Because you're not there. In the moment.
And that's why I love film, because it captures all of that depth and it puts you there. I also that reminded me of the new Super 8 camera that they came out with recently. That is like, I think it's like Kodak. I think that they made a new Super 8 camera. And I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. You can have access, and it takes like all of the old, like it takes the original film, it takes the original like attachments or batteries or whatever. And it's like very accessible. And because like Super 8s are hard to come by, and it's hard to find film, it's really hard to find somewhere to develop it. And now it's like becoming a thing again. I love that. I think it's really important that we value these like practices. But the fucking camera is like, I think it's like $5,000 or $6,000 US.
It's very expensive. The working man.
So it's like
Technology.
so
My
exciting,
God.
new
The working
technology.
man's,
It's like the
Super 8.
original camera,
Unfortunately,
and it's completely inaccessible to any normal human.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like
I-
Polaroid's very expensive.
It
I
is
think,
so expensive.
Yeah.
On the topic of, should they not move into this digital space, it's like, either don't and die with the target market that originally worked with it. And imagine, our kids not getting a chance to use Polaroid because they didn't make the shift. And,
Yeah.
for people who never, even us, we're part of a generation that didn't physically rely on film, even though, the Polaroid was still there, but we were entering into that digital camera age, and we seen our life through screens, and as the future will. So
yeah, I'll tell you what, my kids are not going to be using Polaroid. I'm keeping my shit. I'm not one of those dads that are just going to be like, son, this is my watch. I want you to. No, you're going to wait till I'm dead.
And by then, there's gonna be like a $10,000 Super 8, and you'll be like, sucks.
So when are cassettes gonna come back? I saw
Cassettes are back.
If you go to Urban Outfitters, they got the cassettes. You get
we
like
went to the pharmacy
little-
today, and they had blank cassettes for like $6.
they also had antihistamines.
And it was very
for-
dusty.
They had allergy medicine for $40.
Jesus.
Support local, am I right?
Speaking of like pharmacies though, and like stuff that used to be cheap, I don't know if you've ever shot on like those like disposable cameras and stuff.
Those were fun. See, that's where I thought,
Yeah.
film was still
like they used to be like
big.
$5 or $6. Now they're like $26.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like
Smashed.
it was my shock when I went to the store and they were all
really?
like literally like they had like the locks on the
Like
thing so you
same
couldn't
green
steal them, and
ones,
I'm
like the
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
green paper. Wow.
yeah, like the little Fujifilm.
You know who ruined it? A Tumblr Visco, because everybody wanted to get that aesthetic shot, and then they jacked it up because all the bourgeois children, like, what is this device that the poor people are using? Pro my DSLR.
Pro tip though, if you take the I know that you work with
Yeah.
lenses. If you take the lens off of the disposable and you like make a fake rig, like you have to like really like MacGyver it, but you can get the same effect by shooting on. You can even shoot on DSLR or your any film camera, and it will come out with the same sort of like I don't even know how to call it, like nostalgic, hazy, yeah.
Yeah, it's freaking so cool. I love disposable cameras, and they're so accessible, except for the fact that they're so expensive.
Of a cheaper hack.
What?
You just after like a long day, you just like wipe your iPhone camera on your forehead, and then it'll look exactly the same.
You're so right.
Nice and hazy.
No.
Yeah.
Save the. I know it's not the same, but it looks the same.
Well, it's like photography is working with light. It's all just light. Photography is just light.
Did you ever make the tangerine camera? You
No.
like poke a hole into it so the light comes in and
Like a
exposes
pinhole camera?
Yeah.
That's sick. No, I should try that then.
I did that in high school.
It was a
Did you
photography
take
class.
a-
No, but I saw everyone with their tangerine phones. So I was like, you guys aren't cool, man. I can take a photo. I never took a,
I just got a camera that was like, I got it on Facebook Marketplace for like $40, and it's by the brand Lomography, and they make like color film,
Oh yeah.
or like tonal film, and it's a fisheye, but it's like a disposable camera.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's reloadable and everything, and it's a legit camera. It's so fucking cool, but it has like a fixed aperture and there's no like ISO settings. So it's like a disposable camera, but you can load like 400 film or like 100 and get good results. It even has a hot shoot on it, and in the hot shoot there's a like a fisheye lens that you can look through to see like what you're
it's gonna
shooting.
look like. Wow.
Oh my god, it's so cool. But I have like a bigger flash that I want to attach to it because the flash on the camera doesn't work. And so I can't see what I'm shooting, but I can just guess. And then it also has like an MX button, so you can do double exposures, like immediate double exposure. Because usually when I do double exposures, I will like shoot a roll, and then I'll like wind it back to like the second or third photo,
And start shooting again.
and then start shooting again. And
Could
it works.
you shoot a third time, and would it work?
Yeah, you can
Keep
expose a frame over and over and over again. I mean, it's not gonna look like anything necessarily, but you can. So yeah, it's like always an experimentation. But this camera I'm so excited about because fisheyes are like, they can be like $3,000.
Yeah.
They're so expensive.
Do you ever do the trick where you get like a few extra frames out of your roll by like hooking it like literally right at the end?
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes you get like that like fancy thing where you get like half an image, which is really, really cool.
That's happened a lot to me.
Didn't you do that? Like you had a studio shoot, and I was just like, how do you get that effect? And you're just like, that's actually a fuck up.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? That's like the beauty of analog. Because I know like the new Polaroid films, they're frankly they're terrible, because the company got bought over, and then they made like a new, cheaper way of producing the Polaroid chemicals, and there's a lot more errors that occur.
Yeah,
and you're always gonna have like a bit of an error, but sometimes it's charming.
I find they shoot way lighter too. Like the only Polaroid one that I've been able to get like exactly what I wanted from was like the ones that are like, they're called like Polaroid Vintage, and it's like the same as like the old way they used to make them, but formatted for like the new tray, right? Because like you can't even like say you had like a leftover thing of Polaroid, like the original ones, they don't even fit in the new Polaroid cameras.
Is it the
they
I2 box type?
Because it depends on the camera. Because like I had I think it's called a Sun 600.
Oh
and
yeah,
it
the one with the
takes-
flash, right?
Yeah,
Built it,
and
yeah.
it takes like the film cartridge has a battery in it that
Yes.
powers the camera, and some of them don't have that. So
Yeah. The newer films are a lot cheaper because they don't have the battery, but you can't use one of those older cameras.
No, exactly.
But you can do some hacks, you know, like some mods, you know.
Those are illegal.
I've been looking at.
You can't talk about those.
Lots of crazy stuff because like everybody on our Polaroid on Reddit, they're very cheap and they're always trying to mod their camera to like get cheaper film. Because like there's also the Instax
Yeah,
cameras,
I used to have
which are
one.
way cheaper and frankly kind of better, but they're
kind
not
of cool.
But they're not vintage. You know, I want to use my
They look soft.
I want to
and
use my
colorful.
1980s, you know, box type Polaroid. Good luck spending $40 for
Yeah.
8 shots.
I mean, if it works, it works.
Back then, they had
Back in March,
10
dude.
shots. The old cameras still count to 10, but now the new packs have 8 shots and they're
Yeah.
more expensive.
And
because
one of them is always fucked up
the last one's always fucked
Yeah.
up. It's always fucked up.
because the light always leaks through.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the light leaks, what you were saying before, I actually, because my style is so like distinctly abstract and like
You
kind
said
of
it was real.
oh my god, I'm just a moment capturer.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so those light leaks, I found that some of the photos that have come out of those, where it's like half like destroyed or exposed, are some of the best photos. And I know we were like saying that before, but this one artist that I work with was saying like that those are some of their favorites.
Yeah.
And it's interesting using those for musicians because I've seen them do this thing where they take that photo and so like half of it is just like yellow.
Yeah, and they put the text over
And they
it?
put the text
Oh,
over it
yeah,
for like
yeah.
shows, like announcing
cool.
shows and stuff. It's like a
Yeah.
poster.
Is it?
And it's like pre-made.
Is that something that you can deliberately do, or do you just have to, you know, Hail Mary it and something bad will happen? Or
It depends on
Happy
no, like it depends on how you're loading your film.
oh, okay, yeah.
Because like once you take film out, that like flap
Yeah.
is exposed, and then you have to like load it. You have to pull it and load it, and sometimes I'll like do it where I load the film in like a dark room, and then like hope that it's not exposed to any light.
Yeah.
But most of the time there is like some exposure, but it creates really beautiful colors and stuff. So
I mean, like, you can play around with it too. I've done it by mistake. If you're like, for example, like, you know the Canon 81. So like when the door, like, my gasket is fucked on it. Like it is destroyed. It needs to be replaced. So sometimes the door will accidentally just like pop open.
Yeah.
And you get these like crazy, like, I don't know even how to explain it. Like the light hits
it's like
it.
burnt.
Yeah. You get like traces of like the light has hit it.
Yeah.
And on some of my photos, you can see where the door is sort of open because it goes from like light to dark just because the light has barely hit it for like a couple milliseconds.
Have you gotten a chance to develop your own photos?
No.
No. Have you gotten to work with different photographers or maybe go shooting as an adventure?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really collaborated with other photographers that much. Some of my classes, like my photography class last semester was like a very basic class, and it sort of just gave me access to taking photos for fun.
Someone get Tillman's number right now.
So
I
here's
think we
a-
know a
Please.
guy.
Here's a question then. Why creative writing and not photography as your major?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lincoln.
Well, when I decided to go to school, basically I had come back from BC in 2021 and at like the end of 2021, and I stayed at my parents' house for a bit. And I kind of was like burnt out and stuff, so I was at home sort of just resting for a while, and I wrote a lot in the time that I was in BC, and coming back and sort of finding my place in the world again. And so my writing was like a huge way of coping with my life and like kind of processing everything. And so sometimes I don't really consider myself a writer or a photographer or anything like that. Like those are just like tools that I use to make sense of things. And so at that time, writing was really big for me, especially like poetry and sort of making sense of everything, like I said. But then my photography sort of like took off because when I came home, I reconnected with some old friends who were musicians, and I would shoot them for fun. And then it just became more and more of a passion because I was finding that I wanted to be a lot more present. And so when I applied to OCAD, I hadn't really been doing photos that much. I had been writing a lot. And I think that now, if I'm thinking about it now, I don't think that I would do photography as a major because there's just like so much that I can do on my own with it that I don't really need to learn because my practice is so like just experimental. And so with writing, I feel like I have a lot to learn and a lot to like articulate and discern. And so, yeah.
Have you ever considered like a minor in photography then to kind of like bridge the two?
Yeah, because I want access to the darkroom.
This guy's the expert in minors.
Yeah, I'm like the resident minor expert.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I would really like to do that.
Keep them away from minors. He'll take them all.
I've taken like 2 or 3 minors.
Really?
During my time at OCAD, yeah. I've finished one.
You finished one?
Finished one and stopped doing 2 of them, undeclared 2, but...
I guess I'm not really even sure how it works. Like,
I'll just figure it out in last year, 4th year.
So
yeah, exactly.
It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple.
Just
You just go on the OCAD website. There's a section that says minors, and then you go there, and then you find the respective one you want, and it's self-declared. So you literally just say, like, I'm interested in taking this as a minor, and then it's up to you to enroll in those classes. You just got to keep track of your thing, and it's also like it's backdated. So since you've already taken a photography class, if that applies towards the minor, if you declare the minor next year after, whatever, it all is accumulative.
You can't start a minor in first year, can you?
You have to have a certain amount of credits.
I see. Yeah.
I think it's
it's like
6 or something, 6 or 8 credits. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure because I checked, and I'm pretty sure I can do it after my first year. Yeah, but I don't know. I just want to be in a dark room. The lab that I go to in Toronto is like really, really amazing, really independent. And I was thinking of doing like a sort of apprenticeship there.
Yeah.
And they were like pretty keen on it, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have you ever checked out G44 at 401 Richmond?
No.
They offer classes there too, where it's like I think it's like $40 or $50, and they teach you how to develop your own film.
Oh, cool.
Prep your film, all this stuff, and they offer like it's like monthly classes and stuff. And then I'm pretty sure if like you participate in that, you can become a member there. Like once you've taken the thing, and you can go and develop your stuff.
You're part of the guild.
That's so sick.
Pretty much, yeah.
I would do that.
Bro knows everything.
Your time in Vancouver.
So I was gonna bring that up.
Would you like to talk about it?
Sure.
So, what brought you to Vancouver? Other than the beautiful scenery.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not from Toronto. My dad grew up in Toronto, so I've been here a lot throughout my life, but I'm from, like, a small town, and there's a lot of nature around us. And I think that when I moved out of my parents' place when I was, like, 18 and lived in London, Ontario for a bit, and, like, there was a lot of forest forest there.
Yeah.
So I kind of loved it because I was just doing whatever and hanging out and like figuring out how to be independent. And then COVID hit. And I was like enrolled to go to school, like to go to college in London. And then I was like, I really don't want to fucking do that. So I was like, I have $2,000 in my bank account from the government. I'm just going to go to BC. Because it had been a dream for a while. Obviously, it's like a Canadian city, and so it's easily accessible.
Right.
And it's probably the most beautiful place in
The world.
Canada. Yeah. Not Vancouver, but just the
British
mainland
Columbia.
maybe, or the island. And so Emily Carr University was like a prospect for me, but once I got there and I sort of like got a feel for Vancouver, I was kind of like, like, you know, I could maybe do better. OCAD is better. I just met somebody who was from Vancouver like last week who was like, yeah, I just moved here to go to school from Vancouver. And I was like, why? And he was like, because OCAD's better than Emily Carr. And I was like, okay, that's real. But I do like love it there. Like there's a huge part of my heart there, mostly on the island because I spent a lot of time in like Port Renfrew and stuff. So yeah. So I don't know. The art scene here in Toronto is a lot better, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot more funding too, right? Like
yeah.
It's just, I guess that just comes with Toronto is like much more.
Let's ask
big.
Our Vancouver expert.
The class differences are like ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that's something that's really wrong about Vancouver. But I spent 2 weeks there and I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to forget I'm trying to remember the pier
in Vancouver
that like a lot of painters set up. We'll have it in the description or anywhere else.
The liner notes. Yeah.
The liner notes, yeah. Vancouver was very pretty, and the art scene is painting, tree, and mountain.
Yeah, sounds about right.
One of each.
A tree and a mountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 trees, like, whoa, you're going way out of line, buddy.
That's not Vancouver. That's Alberta.
That's Yukon.
And they have a lot of photographers too, because there's so many pretty places to take photos.
Well, it's a very like specific way of life, and I think I definitely prefer it over living in Toronto as like
There's not
it's
enough
just
nature.
concrete. Yeah.
Have you ever been to High Park?
This is the most nature he's ever gotten.
Okay, but to be
Park.
fair, in Vancouver, there's just Stanley Park.
Stanley Park?
That's
Can
the
you
only
attest to
place
that?
that has
Vancouver
trees.
expert?
There's parks, but like
I wouldn't say as much because, you know, like moss grows everywhere. So you don't see that here in Toronto. You don't see moss, dude.
no, yeah, for sure.
It's for real.
That's the
But, like-
most.
No, you don't. But
Okay,
okay,
the cameraman broke silence.
We're not talking about North York.
Okay, you don't see the type of moss that you get.
The drippy moss.
Drippy
I don't know
moss.
what species it is,
There's a
but
lot
our
more
air here
foliage.
does not support this kind of moss.
You need a moss expert.
We need a moss. Look, it's not just the moss.
Listen,
it's
I
a bunch
love
of plants that we
moss.
can't get here, and
Oh,
even if we
what
did,
kind of plants?
even if we did have enough space for parks and it looked all pretty.
Yeah, but we have a moss park here in Toronto.
Truly.
That's kind of
Where?
like Vancouver.
Really.
But
What do you mean?
don't have
Moss
dude
Park?
chillin'
Moss
Park.
Park, Queen and Shoreboard.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Vancouver.
Don't tell me the moss and the
Sorry.
Yeah,
the
okay.
what's it called, the heart pond,
Oh, Love Park.
Love Park, yeah.
Park?
That's algae.
That's the equivalent.
I mean, okay, I gotta say this though. I think it's like, it depends what you want, right? Like, there's pros and cons to both places, right? If you could choose after graduating, Vancouver or Toronto.
Or Barrie.
The mountains.
Of.
Well, we definitely don't got them in Toronto.
We ain't got a Blue Mountain. We're gonna do some skiing and have a nice
Go to Collingwood.
gay old time.
No, yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I do love what I'm doing right now. I like being here. Like, Toronto's pretty cool. The people in Toronto are cool.
Depends.
if you know where to
If you know where to go.
But
bovine.
if I stay here, like, it's just not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
It's not, like, I'm poor, and I have a lot of issues with, like, institutions and like capitalism and all this stuff.
Yeah. Have you seen the cause exhibit at the AGO? It talks very heavily on capitalism.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not going to the AGO right now.
Yes.
Doing a little bit of a boycott for that one. I actually just got an email about how there's an action happening, I think on like March 13th, that's for the workers at the AGO because they're doing a strike. I think something to do with the executives and whatever, the people in charge just absolutely not
you know what they
paying
should
them
do?
enough.
They should walk out with a painting. They can't stop all of them.
They can't stop all of them.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I mean,
start with cause.
I really, really want to see the Keith Haring exhibit, like fucking bad. But I just can't bring myself to go there because of like the stuff with Palestine as well, how they fired someone for being in support of Palestine.
Yeah, the indigenous curator.
The indigenous curator, yeah.
Wanda.
And so,
Wanda.
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 Okay, yeah.
I will say this. I went at the beginning of sort of all this stuff going on to see it because I wanted the opportunity to see Keith Haring, and I gotta say, like, the curation and stuff is kind of like they missed the point. I think it's crazy you take an artist like Keith Haring, who is truly anti-capitalist, anti-establishment, anti-bigotry, and then you display his work with, like, you know, artist description that say this piece is about how Keith Haring was upset about Ronald Reagan and, you know, the handling of like whatever going on in the world, and you've got an institution holding that art that is actively you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing I took issue with is it's called Keith Haring Art is for Everybody. And then to go and see it, it's $35.
Yeah, because it's a membership only to see it.
Only.
Yeah, so it's not for art's not for everybody.
So how is it for everybody if I got to pay more to go and see it?
Well, you're under 25, so you could use the membership. You know, the year pass holders.
That's true.
But still, if you're over 25, that's ageism.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And that's something I've sort of been grappling with a little bit because I am under 25, so I'm not paying them to go. So is that like morally okay to go?
Well, I mean,
I mean, like,
but I think the thing needs to be.
But also, that's fucked up. I can't believe they did that.
The money, if you're under 25, the money comes from the Ontario government. So in turn, they say, okay, another person under 25 has registered for this thing. The government has to pony up that money.
They still fund it.
Of course. They have to stay open.
I doubt
as an
it's
institution.
by the person, more so by a budget that they fill.
You can use my dad's
It's Ontario tax money. It's Ontario tax money. It's an Ontario.
I have my dad's
Probably more of a
pass.
quota than by the person.
I took Alex with my dad's pass.
Well, I mean, like, I had another conundrum a little while ago when the boycott for Starbucks was happening. I won a gift card to Starbucks, and so it's like the money is already
in
paid
Starbucks.
for.
Oh, you're not gonna like our gift.
And so
we got you an AGO pass and.
I was like, I don't want to go because even though I'm not spending money, I don't want to be in that space. Like, I don't want to support it in any way. I don't want people, like, I don't want there to be foot traffic even in that fucking
similar
place.
situation with like the firing of people within their unions.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, but I had a point about Keith Haring that I want to bring up.
Yeah. Love of my life.
When the exhibition is just full of his work it's very sexual, very violent. There's a lot of political commentary and a lot of heavy topics being discussed and exhibited in the work. But when you go to the gift shop, all the artworks for sale or like the merchandise for sale is just like all the the iconography, just like of the dog, the baby, people dancing. It's just like they're kind of stripping, not a single penis in the the gift shop.
I know,
They're
right?
stripping away like Keith Haring's essence to just like an icon.
Well, it's
and then people are just treating it as like fashion or tat, you know.
It's
the same thing happened to
a
Basquiat and Warhol.
but it's a lacking of like the political messaging in the artwork, right? Like fundamentally, like personally for me, I think that like all art in a way is political.
Not for everyone.
Well, yeah, that too. But like I think art in general like is and should be political. It's a commentary on society and what's happening around us. And I don't know, I think you just kind of miss the mark when you have like a whole exhibit that's about one thing, and then you go to the gift shop and they've got a fucking collectible, only 100 made bare brick fucking sculpture with Keith Haring on it. And it's like
I know, right? He would have loved that. Rip Keith Haring. He would have loved
he would have loved a limited edition $800 sculpture.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's,
you know who's
a
the
tough one.
only artist who would love that? Warhol. Love that shit.
Warhol, yeah.
He just,
Rest in peace,
to
Andy
be
Warhol.
part of
You
the
would have loved
conversation.
it.
I think
Yeah.
it's so funny that it comes back that like his character's so defined that like they could just make memes like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Welcome back, Andy Warhol.
You love that. The guy like after
There was a picture of like Keith Haring and talking.
one of my favorite
one
of my favorite things at the Keith Haring exhibit is there's like this scanned Polaroid of just like Keith Haring and Warhol. They're just like talking, and there's like a full like parrot on Andy Warhol's shoulder, like a live parrot.
Yeah,
awesome. And it's just like, did he just show up like that?
Probably.
Like, what's the?
I love how it's like the only photo there out of all the Polaroids where it just says date unknown.
Yeah, it's just like what
like,
is the
what's the fucking context?
We
Where
don't
were
need the
they?
context.
We'll never know.
It's art.
Yeah, and that's why they had the good Polaroids back then. If like the glitch happened over the parrot, we'll never know what he had on his shoulder.
Art is for parrots.
Honestly, like I gotta
Andy
say,
Mouse.
like being in that exhibit though and stuff, and hearing like what other people were saying about and stuff was like the best fucking thing for me, because I was like sitting there and just overhear like someone with like their own sort of like, they haven't read the artist statement, they haven't read any of the fucking context of anything, and they're just like coming up with their own thing. And the funniest thing was like, I don't know if you remember, there was the one was like the pig and it's like spitting out a green sea of like money and objects, and it's a commentary on capitalism, how like people that take all the money, or like the ones that are supposed to be providing for us, the government is also the one that provides all the shit that brings us down. And it was like a dad and his two little kids, and he goes, oh, this one's about how capitalism is good and keeps the world afloat. And I was like, yo,
Jesus Christ.
what the
Art
fuck?
is,
like,
Jesus
come on.
Christ.
Was he kidding?
No, he wasn't kidding. He was like dead serious.
Was it my dad?
The irony of that is like baffling.
It was like, and like the other one that really made me laugh was like, there's like the thing he did when Basquiat passed away, and it's like the triangle of crowns.
With the crowns, yes.
Yeah. And there was like this there's this person, she was like, this is plagiarism, that's Basquiat's work. And I'm like, oh my god, if you read the artist statement, like,
they know each other.
The title is literally for Basquiat.
This is the effect that Urban Outfitters has
had
on the
and
world.
Uniqlo and H&M.
I feel like even though like Keith Haring it was some is more adult, this and Cause together seems like more of just to like get the young audience in.
Yeah, no, it's just like because
they don't seem like they should be together.
But to the untrained eye, it's just like, oh, they make like fun characters. It's just like, no.
Yeah.
Like they definitely deliberately put them together because there was like a little nod to Keith Haring in one of the Cause artworks.
Well, I think it's just like they've ascended past their own culture that they lived in and are now in ours and pop culture.
And now they're all rolling in their graves.
This is my conspiracy theory. After seeing how many people took pictures with the Wolfgang Tillman's the blonde picture, they're just like, we need pop culture here at the AGO.
But it's like a ghost of it.
It's a ghost of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Even Tillman's doesn't like that picture.
I just think it's fucking hilarious too that the last time that the AGO had a Keith Haring or a Basquiat and stuff, it was in that exhibit where it was like
Oh, We Are Here?
We Are Here.
Dude, let's do a gorillas
they put the fucking
exhibit.
They put the Basquiat beside someone's like Instagram food like
Oh yeah,
review,
yeah, yeah.
like,
I was just yeah.
It's like holy
That
fuck.
was pretty
like,
interesting, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, all I gotta say is the AGO is.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could use my dad's pass if you don't want to go check it out without any, because he only went once to see the Leonard Cohen.
Oh.
And you know what he said?
What?
After seeing like all of his poems and lyrics and stuff, he's just like, I thought there would be like more instruments and clothes and stuff. It's just like, Dad, you're never happy. Just enjoy the lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't we go through some of your photography?
Let's take a gander.
Sure.
And you can give us some of your anecdotes.
Is this an example of the kind of glitch?
Yeah, it actually is. So, that's what we were talking about with the loaded film. That's probably the first or second frame of the roll. So there's like a little bit of light left over. And I don't think I didn't even like fully focus this because I didn't think it would turn out. But I just was like, yeah, we had such a chill time in that studio. This was at OCAD, at the 667 studio, I think.
6th floor.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like she's looking at the
fifth.
sun.
5th.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, and that's exactly
Yeah.
how you were standing when you were off that Zin.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay, sorry.
I had like a slot open, and she was like, "Yeah, I'd like love to take some photos with you." She was really sweet. She's great. She's like a friend, a mutual friend as well.
Was this for a project or was this just free shooting?
This was just free shooting. She had like a couple ideas, brought some like inspo pics, and we were like, okay. And she kind of wanted that like 90s kind of like blown out look. And so, yeah, we were just like, what I did was I was shooting on 400 or 500 speed film with like a flash on my camera and 2 studio flashes, and with the star filter, which also creates like a haze. So this is an edited image. Like I color graded it and brought up the contrast and the blacks and dehazed it. But the blue is like, it just came out of the photo when I lowered the exposure and everything. I don't know why, but it just turned out so beautiful. The original photo is like very, very pale and blown out and overexposed. So yeah, I just wanted it to be almost like a 90s like album cover type vibe.
Or shooting album covers something you like really want to do in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I actually am working on doing that.
Oh, that's good to hear.
With an artist.
Cool.
Is it in the works right now?
Sort of.
Is there any details you can share?
Yeah, like we worked on the cover for a single that they're releasing. And then the album is probably going to come out, I think, maybe in the summer. I'm not really sure, but...
So you worked in conjunction with the artist?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so for that cover, there's actually a photo on here that I used. It's the blue photo of like the person playing guitar.
Maybe we'll get to it, but we'll start here.
Yeah. Oh my god, this
Dude
is
going
crazy.
hard.
Mosh
Yeah,
pit.
that was so awesome. This is Mile End, and this was just like in the mosh.
Local Toronto artist?
I think they're from Hamilton.
There's only one person
I
in
might
the
be wrong,
mosh?
actually. Huh?
Only one person in the mosh? Everyone's like
No,
backed
everyone
up
was
away.
literally flailing around. This is a
It's a
hardcore
moment
show.
in time.
They're really big in the hardcore scene. They're really amazing. I fucking love those guys. Mile End. And the vibe of the crowd, I just love like people who go to hardcore shows because they're always the most absolutely like lovely, wholesome people. And then in the mosh pit, like you will die.
Oh yes, until you get into the pit.
I got body slammed a couple times during this show, and this was the last show that I was like, I'm wearing earbuds.
No.
Like this was like the breaking point for me, because I would always go to shows and forget to bring like earplugs, and like I had hearing damage for like 3 days after this. But yeah, it's really good vibe.
Go to a softcore show next time.
I love looking at everyone's like hands, because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like so like
It
awkwardly
almost seems
placed
like-
and stuff.
Like, all right, let's
Yeah,
step
everyone's
away
scared.
from this
This
fella.
is happening so fast. They do this like windmill
Yeah.
move
Fucking Christ.
and like kicking and like throwing each other across the floor. Yeah, I absolutely love it. It was packed that night. Oh,
Is that a dove?
yeah.
Is it a real
No,
live dove?
I don't
Yeah,
think
you know, Andy Warhol once had a
I love this photo.
live.
That dove was like so captivating to me. So this was at Lost Tonic Studios. That's Rosie Wise, a friend of mine. She's absolutely lovely, and one of like my favorite musicians ever.
Yeah. And that's an Epiphone ES335.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
The guitar.
He's a guitar miner.
Yeah, this was sort of
Minor
like a holiday celebration. There were some really cool artists there. There's an artist named Koza, and Rosie played like a solo set, and it's always very intimate and very vulnerable. And Lost Tonic, I'm gonna be working with Lost Tonic a bit more in the future. I'm gonna be like able to be commissioned through the studio. So yeah, the person who runs it, Sam, is also a musician, goes by Celsi, and she's the coolest ever. So I just loved this.
So when you're shooting, are you like, do they know that you're like shooting, or is it kind of just like you're going and capturing the moment whenever you see like, yes, this is going to be a good shot?
Like, do you mean like, do I plan it out
Yeah,
first?
yeah. Or are you just kind of like showing up and being like,
I
oh,
just
this would
show
be a
up.
good.
Yeah. No, this was not planned. Like this is like, I used the studio space for a project that I was doing, and then Sam was like, hey, if you want to do a trade, you can come to an event and shoot that.
Cool.
And like, as like a way to use the studio. And I was like, that's perfect. Oh, this is another
More
one
studio
from,
work?
from Brooke.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I've only done a few studio shoots because a lot of my stuff has been like concerts, but I've had some like quite a bit of fun, and it can be very experimental being in a studio and just having like a blank canvas to work with. For this shot, a lot of people asked me if I had like a fan like blowing her hair, and I was like, no. All we did was she was sitting on that platform, and then she like, you know, had her like, she was set up, and then just like
Whipped her hair
back. Like
Nice.
she just like sat up really
You
quickly.
got that perfect moment. But yeah, I'd
Yeah.
definitely assume there was a fan or something. But
Oh, really?
yeah, well, it looks
Fishing line.
fishing line
For
on
every
every
strand.
single hair. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It was
I-
actually taken like this way.
Oh, hanging
90
upside
degree,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so
actually
her
gravity's
butt
pull.
was glued to the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wall. I think we do have time for one more, so
Let's go through them all.
oh,
real quick,
okay.
Quickly.
then we'll. Who's this lad?
That's Pat Symington,
Dan Electro.
And the bass.
Vanilla.
Let's just see ones with the like the lens with the flare.
And
That band was
very-
Idle Lane.
Idle Lane.
So
This is the
they're
same
from
show,
Victoria,
or-
BC.
Oh, okay.
Very,
and my friends, Absolutely You, did a little mini tour with them, and we went to Montreal. And this was in Montreal. And this is when Idle Lane was playing.
This
they're-
isn't the hardcore.
No,
thing?
they're alternative. Very, very 90s.
How would you describe the scene in Montreal?
It's really cool.
Really cool.
Montreal was fun.
I feel people dress a lot nicer in Montreal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's more European.
because they're French.
Or could you go
they're
back? Could you explain the flower
Okay.
thing over there?
This
It's
photo,
lens, right?
I love this photo so much. This is Sunsetter, and this is
Fitting.
the band and the artist that I'm working with on the album art. So this photo was actually something that I used for the single, like the single cover, and I printed this photo out on like transparent paper, and then I took some photos from like a National Geographic book and like collaged that into it, and then put some like flowers and like textured paper and stuff, and just made this like collage. And this was at the Monarch Tavern. It was a beautiful show. Big fan of Sunsetter. And they're playing on March 21st. So at the Monarch Tavern again.
At the Monarch.
The lens, the
effect. The filter.
That's
the filter
how it's
is
done.
being used on this photo.
Yeah.
And that's how we got that flower.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming has it been edited, or is this just shot?
No, that's the raw photo.
It's so cool.
It's a raw photo?
Yeah.
Oh, because it was a red light.
This
Yeah.
one I
The
really
lighting at Monarch is
particularly like.
really good. This is a band called
Flower Boy.
Westlaken, and they're
West what now?
Westlaken.
Lakin.
Hey,
Yeah.
what?
You need to get this guy on the band.
They're so good. That was my first time seeing them, and I loved them.
This is the only West Lakin I know.
I had a lot of
West
fun
End.
with
Yeah,
this
for-
because it's actually like, man, and obviously this is a double exposure, but I use Flash a lot because like the settings are hard, and using a Flash guarantees like aspects. But
What is blood playing there?
for this show, I experimented a lot by not using my Flash, and I'm so glad that I did. Like, I'm gonna definitely do that more because.
So it's a double exposure.
Yes,
Sorry, it was
'cause
just
there's-
messing with
Yeah.
my head.
There's a bass player and the guitarist.
Morphing into the guitarist.
And then at the top is that
looks like the guitarist.
That's from the other frame
right.
being moved.
That's
Yeah.
So-
Thunderbird, right?
So did you shoot one horizontal and one vertical?
Thunderbird,
yeah, I
Thunderbird.
guess.
Because that's how it sort of like seems like it's.
I
been-
never know how the double exposure is going to turn out
yeah.
because, like I said,
Yeah.
I just like shoot the roll and then I go back.
So it's like a surprise then.
Yeah.
Well, Jules, we're about time to wrap up. But you know what? We always bring a gift for our guests that
Oh my
come here.
God.
Yes.
You give us your time.
I hope it's not Starbucks.
We've got something for you. Just give me a second.
As he gets the gift. Any shows you're looking forward to going to? Maybe you want to shout out.
Yeah, I mean the Sunsetter show, like I mentioned, and I'm seeing a lot of artists soon. I'm seeing like bigger artists like Buck Meek and Show Me the Body. Oh my God, I'm so excited for that.
We'll catch Jules there. She's gonna be front row. Taking
I
them
hope
pictures.
so. Maybe I'll get involved with some publications.
I heard you're a big fan of.
No way.
That
No
yerba.
way.
For
Oh
your
my
we
God.
got for your
All three
stash,
flavors.
That's crazy.
all the classics.
Yeah.
Look at that. USDA approved.
Look at
Kosher, halal, gluten free.
This is my sustenance.
Vegan, certified B, non-GMO. Look at that.
Certified at everything.
Product of
B
the
Corp
USA.
as well.
My juice.
Also got
My special juice.
some zins if you.
Some zins.
All right, Jules, thank you so much for your
Yes.
time. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Being on our
sharing
show.
your work.
Yes.
And we hope you enjoy. I hope you think of each one of us as you drink your.
I will.
Yerba.
Which ones are you? We have grapefruit, ginger, classic
sounds-
gold,
Lakin's a ginger.
I'm
and
that-
cranberry
I'm
pomegranate.
that cranberry.
All right, I guess I'm the gold.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Sounds
All
about
right.
right.
Well,
Thank
We'll
you so
see you all
much.
next time.
thank you for
Take it
tuning in.
easy.
This has been PODCAD
Yep.
in that black box
Yeah.
camera angle. What?
Yes.
Never mind.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye. Bye.